Now, live from Rogers, Arkansas, watching the Ozark skies from Walton and Walnut. To Vanderbilt and the Fort. Here's the whiz of Oz weather, Garrett Lewis.
And a very, very early Sunday morning to you. Coming up on 5:38, we're tracking some severe thunderstorms that are in the area, moving right across the state line. This is a look at what's happening right now. So we have showers and storms tracking west to east. Here's a closer look at it. What's going to happen today? Today is going to be different than yesterday, guys. So yesterday we had the line of showers move through. There's a break midday, and then we had this round that's moving through. I'll show you what the data looks like for this afternoon. I don't think we get that break today like we saw yesterday. The break yesterday is nice. Be able to get outside. I know the grass was still pretty wet. All right. Anyway, let's get back to the radar and talk about what's going now. So we have a severe thunderstorm warning. Looks like this one is for the Stillwell area. They may extend this into Washington County. That's where the strongest part of this storm is. If we take a look out there southbound on the interstate, every now and again you'll see some lightning flashes out into the distance here on I-49 as that line of storms moves through. It's going to make a lot of noise in central Benton County, but overall these storms at the moment are not severe, and I don't see anything rotating in these storms out towards High. A lot of lightning. The heaviest part of this storm is actually tracking out towards Fayetteville and more towards Prairie Grove and Lincoln, are areas that were hit earlier this week by those strong to severe storms. Here's another wide view of the showers and storms. Let me animate this to show you guys how it's tracking here. You can see it rolling east. It's actually building up. And what happens here is I think that flooding threat comes back up too as we head into for places like Rogers and Fayetteville, just because of the way that this line is moving northeast. So more showers and storms looking like after this push, and you can see out west towards Claremore, there's more showers and thunderstorms that are starting to track in as well. Now, because the line isn't real sharp here in Benton County, I'm not as worried about severe weather. For you mountain bikers that are in town, though, man, talk about some mud, huh? Um, those Airbnb folks are going to love you. Hopefully, they got the black towels in there so you don't have to deal with all the mud on the bikes. From Bella Vista south out through Rogers, heavy showers and storms are moving through. Siloam Springs, we had that big one that just moved through a second ago, but really it's this one to the west that's severe. So let's look at another radar source here, and let's take a look at how this one is trending. And maybe look at it from a couple different vantage points, right? So here's the line of showers and storms as it stands now. I'm going to pop on a composite real quick just to give you a look at how this looks over a bigger perspective here of what's happening. So if I zoom on out, you can see just up the gutter up into Kansas. It's not a knock on Kansas. I'm just saying this stuff is running all downhill. There's other things that run downhill that could also be used as an analogy, but let's keep it family friendly. It's Sunday morning. But all that stuff is running downhill and running southeast. It's running in that northwest flow. So there's more that's coming our way heading into the afternoon and the evening hours. Not only that, but I was watching the Storm Prediction Center. They're actually, let's see if I can get that for you. They're actually thinking about issuing another watch for Central Arkansas. You can see that whole area, that pokes right into Fort Smith and Bentonville and Rogers. This just came out at too old to see. I need my reading glasses. That one came out, I believe, at about 5:30 or so on that particular storm. So that is one they're watching. But you can see what's happening here when you look back to the northwest. We've got just a lot of showers and storms that are lined up here, stretching from looks like it's all the way here from just near I-49 up to the southwest part of Kansas. And then this development likely continues all in this area. You can't even see what I'm doing. It's too early, Garrett. It's coffee. Um, right there. Same thing. But this is what's happening right now. But the Storm Prediction Center is watching that particular area for those showers and storms to continue. Alrighty, let's get to it. Let's talk a little bit more about this, and maybe go into some street level mapping here to with the actual radar instead of the composite radar. Let's look here. So there's the line of showers and storms. The strongest part of the storm that's crossing the state line appears to be coming in towards Lincoln again. So this is right near Westville, Lincoln, and Prairie Grove. That's going to be moving northeast. So expect heavy showers and storms to come into Fayetteville, University of Arkansas. Right now, the heaviest storms are coming down 62 in Lincoln along Sugar Hill Road. That's also going to be right there along Northwest Avenue, East Pridemore, East North Street. Heavier showers right there around West Bean, North Star, and also North Main Street. I know many of you are a little skittish after that storm moved through. I don't blame you. I always am, seems like, especially when you're covering weather and you see what this stuff can do. But this does not appear to be anything that's rotating or anything to be concerned with. It is going to make a lot of noise, though. Matter of fact, out there around Bella Vista right now, this stuff is really coming down. This is just looks like this is south of Lake Windsor, and this is tracking more towards the north in the Bella Vista area. So, out in Bella Vista, heavy storms here moving in, and let's see what if I can show you what that looks like at there towards the Bella Vista interchange. That's the RDOT cam looking southbound. Not a lot of traffic out on an early Sunday morning. Of course, it's not even 6 o'clock yet, so I'm still waking up, still getting around, but this probably will wake you up with the lightning that's out there, right? So that's looking at the interchange at Bella Vista. This is what it looks like if we were to zoom in on that interchange. That's going to be right there at where Walton runs into 71 right there at the bypass. So exit 91 is where we were looking just now with the heavier storms really just south of that in Bentonville. So I'm seeing it right there along North Walton on either side of North Walton, really. So this is along Northwest LaSalle, Holly Drive, Northwest A Street, and then moving back over, there's Town Branch Center and Northeast Tiger. Northeast A runs up to the north in this area. Um, and then if we flip over a little bit more, you can see Chapel Hill Drive, um, moving south, north side of Tiger around Greenbrier, and looks like northeast Essex Court also having those showers and storms. There's J Street too. So it's a little heavier, it appears, right there along Northwest 9th Street and Northwest Park Street. So really in the general town branch areas where some of this stuff is the heaviest. Here's Northwest 5th and Bella Vista Way. I'm gonna zoom out here a little bit. So that's closer to the square. The northwest side of Bentonville is heaviest west of Walton, probably closer to White Way and Geyer Road. This was that area that had all that wind damage. Man, about a year ago today, right? I mean, my goodness. Let's look back down to the south here. We've got showers and storms from Centerton over Southwest Regional Airport Boulevard, West Rainbow Farms Road. There's that curve on Highway 12. Billboards are right there on the corner. There's Shell Road, which runs to the east. There's that other intersection that's really wonky that you got to kind of ramp over almost on Southeast Walton to get going north. And then if we move farther south, you can see it along Gator Boulevard there. That's going to be right along North Main Street. Looks like this thing's going to be coming in right towards Daverty and let's see here, Carlton Circle. So those are all going to be tracking to the east, northeast, and then back to the south in Lincoln. You can see those showers and storms that are moving in. The intensity did drop down on it. They allowed the watch or they allowed the warning to expire here on the storm that's moving into the northwest part of Washington County. So another track and trend of this thing as it moves in. The ice water is not icy anymore. That was the one that was on the bedside last night. Usually it's the old Razorback cups, but last night it was the workout bottle. So I taught a spin class, and I think I did too much yesterday. My legs are just oh, jelly. Oh well. Get that metabolism going so we can eat some junk food on Memorial Day weekend. Let's see. What else we got going on here? You guys want to know what happens next? Let's start first. Let's go through the whole thing real quick and look at what's happening, what's new, what's now, and what's next. That's what I always used to tell the new meteorologist that started. That's all that really matters, right? When is it going to rain, and when's it going to be gone? What's happening right now, and is there a tornado? It's really that simple. We don't need to call it a super duper califragilistic impact alert, severe mega day. It's a rainy day. We typically used to call it. Anyway, there's a live look. This is looking southbound. This is out along I-49, closer towards Rogers. You can see traffic moving along, and you can't really see a lot of lightning on that shot there. But there is lightning out there. There's quite a bit of it more towards the south that's coming into Fayetteville than anywhere else. And then we'll go over to the image that we were looking at a moment ago and zoom out a touch here so you can see the wide view. These showers and storms will pose a wind threat. There's nothing really spinning in it, so that's going to be tracking to the east. There's more behind it, so you catch a small break and then more storms move in. If we look over at the storm, we say, huh, is there any kind of rotation going on? We can look at this and isolate any pockets of rotation, and there's not any. What I do see is a line of wind, though, that's coming into Springdale, and I also see some stronger winds near Westville and Watts, and that pretty much lines up with the radar. You would expect to see it there, and you'd also expect to see it out towards Highfield, too, it looks like, out in Tawnytown and Springdale. Those winds are probably on the order of about 40 to 50 miles an hour. They're sub-severe. There's also some hail here that's about a half inch, so that's smaller than quarter size hail. If we get it, let's see, where's the hail button? There we go. If the hail's falling, it's around Westville, Lincoln, somewhere in that area. And then that's tracking up towards the northeast. So that's a wide view of that. You can see where the radar is and the rotation. Nothing right now is spinning. So let's switch gears. The Storm Prediction Center said they're watching this whole area for more development. So more storms will be coming later today. So let's look at those suckers and let's see what happens here as we go through time. Let's see if it's this button here. It is. Boy, we're on a roll here this morning. So I'll probably jinx it. But this is what's happening now, right? So you have these showers and storms that are moving across north of I-49. So this is generally from Fort Smith to the north. And then more storms start to develop. So this is coming up on about 7 a.m. And then there's a limited break here about 9 and 10. And then we start getting clobbered again by about noon and 1. And then these storms will also be strong to severe in the afternoon, and these are going to linger. This is 7 in the evening. The main line should be south of here, but I don't think that the storm risk, like yesterday, is a nice pause midday. I think today that storm risk continues and actually redevelops right in here. Probably this looks like 10, 11 o'clock. We're going to get some more redevelopment upstream, up the gutter in Kansas and Oklahoma, and then that's going to track southeast. And then once that moves through, I think the downward trend really starts about 2 or 3 o'clock, but there's still going to be some stragglers that are out there and some spotty areas of rain because it's an active pattern. And not only that, we're still going to have more rain showers too heading into the day tomorrow. So it's a really floody type weekend for us. And yesterday I did all kinds of yard work, not yard work. I didn't do any. That's what I should have done, but I didn't. I did laundry yesterday. The kids' laundry, most people don't know this, but it never stays clean, ever. Like never. It's just, it always piles up. They don't know how to put it in the hamper. Oh boy. It's fun though. You can take their dirty clothes and you can put it in their bed on their pillow or something. They hate that. They also hate that if you put trash that they leave randomly, like the empty Oreo boxes that they leave in the pantry. Why do kids do that? Or empty Cheez-It boxes? I'm so excited sometimes because I'm like, I'm going to get an Oreo. And then I grab the bag and box and it's empty. So we just take that and you just put it on their pillow. So you start piling trash up in their bed and eventually they get the hint. At least that's what I'm hoping. I haven't got the hint yet, but there's still hope for it. I mean, what do you do when you got a soon to be 14-year-old and 10-year-old? Oh boy. They're all asleep right now. They were probably up late last night watching video games. I went to bed early. So typically do. So here's the showers and storms in Westville and Salem Springs, Cave Springs. Pretty heavy storm there, southwest of Rogers. Man, really coming down in this area, isn't it? Why don't we take a closer look at that? Here are those storms moving in. So the heaviest cell right there along South Rainbow Road and Stony Brook. So this is running east. This is out towards the hotels. Here's Horse Barn Road. That's right along the Greenway there, out towards Natural State, Stony Brook Apartments that are up in this area. I think Crossing Construction's up here now. And then if you move back to the south, there's one of Rogers' 1,000 roundabouts. This is that's Pinnacle Hills Parkway, so that's over there by Embassy. Here's Champions Drive, and then looking south on Pleasant Grove. It doesn't show up on here, but there's actually going to be another roundabout right here. They're working on it right now. We can just go in circles all day. It's like the Triumph. It's really not. It's just one lane, and they had to put a divider because people can't even use it. Pleasant Grove, though, looks like that's heaviest. Where are we here? This is Sawgrass Court, Champions Boulevard here. That's just south of Pinnacle. And then moving south along Wallace Road. Heavy storms here coming right down South Rainbow Road and Wallace, in towards Shadow Valley. Here's Garrett Road running east and west. There's another roundabout right here. Um, That's along Mount Hebron. So the park's actually right here, Mount Hebron Park. And then out along Cross Creek Boulevard, pretty heavy thunderstorm here. There's nothing spinning in that. Looks like the last sweep actually moved it out to the east. So this is more towards the Creekwood area in Bellevue now. And then the east side of Bellevue coming over towards Fairview Elementary with showers and storms, some light to moderate rainfall right here around, what is that, Silo Falls near Claremont, Avery Lane, South 28th, Riley Court, and South 26th. That crosses over the interstate out towards 71 in Bloomington near Lowell. So up and down 71 in Lowell on Bloomington, that's along what is that? Colley Street and Ireland Street, as well as Nelda Avenue. So Lowell's getting this. Downtown Rogers, really going to have it here shortly. It's all in Uptown right now, but when you get farther east and down West Oak and Ulrich, coming over towards Heritage, you're going to be experiencing heavy storms that are moving in. And these storms, again, are very different than the storms we had last Memorial Day weekend. This is not rotating, and it's not anything that we're real concerned about as far as anything spinning or anything like that goes. But it's still a pretty heavy duty storm here, and it's going to cause a lot of lightning and a lot of noise early this morning. So if you're getting up and maybe heading to church this morning, you'll need the umbrella throughout most of the day, or um, hopefully the team that's going to be out there, maybe you're on that team with the umbrellas. Just be aware that the rain should be sticking around for the first part of the day. Here's a new sweep, so we can let this thing come through and maybe get a feel for that. I can also take you out there towards New Hope. There's a live look. Little allergies this morning, huh? That's southbound. So you got Mercy there on the left side of the screen. Some heavy showers there and storms. It's the iDrive cam. iDrive's got an app too. It's really handy. If you don't have their app, you really should download it, especially if you're going to be driving up and down I-49. 'Cause you can check that sucker before you leave the house and be like, oh, guess what? Somebody saw a rock on the road and decided to go 30 miles an hour, and now there's an accident. And then traffic's backed up for 3 miles. And usually you can find an alternate route, but it's not that easy because usually during that time of day, either drive time in the morning or evening, you're looking at 112 and 71, which are both kind of jacked up too. So 49 sometimes is still the fastest. Sometimes, not always, but sometimes. Let's see here. What do we got? That's lined up and down I-49. Is this getting to Fort Smith? It looks like this line's going to be, man, it's going to be just to the north. We'll see if anything develops on the tail end of it. It's trying to here near Sallisaw, but I think the biggest cluster, at least for now, that's getting into the area is just north of Fort Smith, more towards the tunnel. It's always the tunnel. But north of the tunnel is where we start getting into this stuff heavier, really from about Devil's Den and then getting into Fayetteville. If you're headed out to the lake today, maybe you're headed out to Beaver Lake or Grand Lake, be aware there will be storms out there. And if you see some lightning in the distance, get off the lake. You don't want to stay out there. It could be the tallest object, and it could be a very shocking experience if you're the tallest object out there on the lake. Let's look for any more rotation. We're also going to look for some storm trends. The heaviest part of the storm here in Rogers is over DTR now. That's the east side, right there along 1st and 2nd Street. Those are going to be tracking north. So from Bentonville north and then up towards Pea Ridge, we'll have those thunderstorms moving through. And then south of Highfield, you get into a pretty big storm. This is that one west of Prairie Grove, right along 62. This is close to where those tornadoes happened earlier. So let's look for wind in this first. Show me the wind. I see the strongest wind and the strongest storm right here near Prairie Grove. That's also where the hail is. So another look at it, and that lines up pretty well with the radar. So that is the strongest storm. Let's see how that's tracking. That was the one that had the warning on it. That's tracking to the east. Another thing I like to do is I like to isolate the trend in this. This is the amount of liquid in the storm, and this tells me if it's trending up or down. And I can get a feel for whether or not the storm is going to keep going with the same intensity, or the intensity is going to come down, or maybe the intensity is staying the same. So what I'm seeing with this, as you saw, as it moved north of Stillwell. Let me center this up so you can see it a little bit better. As it moved north of Stillwell, it did show a diminishing trend and a weakening trend, right? So they let the warning expire. It's still got some hail in it. It's still a pretty robust storm, and it looks like it's coming right into Fayetteville. But the overall trend, at least to me, still appears to be down. I don't think this is trending back up right now. Here's where it is. Let me back this up a couple frames here. See what I mean? It's been trending down. don't even see any yellow colors in the last scan, so that's good. Farther north, there's not much in Rogers as far as the intensity goes. We get back here and look into Benton County, we can see that it never really got as strong in Benton County as it did just north of Stillwell. It really lost a lot of umph there as it moved across the line. Another back image of radar, you can see those showers and storms that are moving through. So let's go back and look at wind speeds now inside the thunderstorm. And again, that one storm is the one. This is the only one I'm really worried about. Not really worried about, but the one I would be like, okay, we could lose some yard furniture out of this thing. Or if trash day was yesterday, was it yesterday for us? No, it's Friday for us. Um, so if trash day was yesterday, the trash cans could blow over. Usually it takes me a day or two to get the trash cans off the curb, and then I get the letter from the HOA, which is funny, but I'm on board. Anyway, do as I say, as I do. Another big view. There's a line of storms that are moving through Rogers. Let's look at these guys in Rogers again. So, Rogers near Prairie Creek, that's going to be along Montenay Road. I hadn't had some chicken in a long time. Montenay chicken's good stuff, man. That soup, have you had the soup out there too? Good stuff. Here's New Hope running east. So, that's going to run all the way out to 94 Montenay Road, running south. You got to go farther east out towards Beaver Lake if you want the chicken. On South First Street in DTR, you can see some heavier storms that are moving through along West Price Lane, New Hope South. So this is the interchange here towards Pleasant Grove. Pleasant Grove Road really getting some of the heavier showers and storms now with that line that's moving in. I should be able to take you there and show you what that one looks like, I think. Maybe. We'll see. Maybe not. South 8th Street, and then moving more to the south, a bit of a small break in lull, and then it starts to pick back up. The Pleasant Grove exit did just pop online here, so there you go. That's looking southbound. So the Walmart's there on the left side of the screen. You're looking south. I would say you're looking south at more development on the right, but that really doesn't narrow anything down in Northwest Arkansas because development is on the right, on the left, on the up, on the down, and probably underground too, and probably overhead. So these storms are um, heaviest here over Rogers, break and lull, a little bit heavier in Springdale, heavier still in Tawnytown, with the heaviest cell still ongoing southwest of Farmington and near Lincoln, really north of Lincoln. So that's more towards West Weddington, back back top road, and then North Mortenson Road near Subtle. This is all moving towards the northeast. And then in Prairie Grove, the heaviest appears to be here south East Douglas and north of Park Street along Heritage Parkway on 62. That's where 62 kind of bends back down to the south southeast. And then you get farther south here, you run into Hog Eye out towards Cane Hill. This is Cove Creek, North Cove Creek, Delight Road, Epic Road, and Brown Road. That runs west towards Sulphur Fork and Blue Mountain Road. That's Blue Mountain in Washington County, not Blue Mountain down south. So that whole line pushes east, and we'll eventually start getting this stuff moving into Fayetteville. Well, it already is over, I guess, over the Fulbright Expressway. It looks like it's already there. The rain started to pick up here. It's going to pick up quite a bit more though once we have that heavier cell that's just to the south that moves in. So if we look south from that, let's see this interchange right in here. Let's see what this thing looks like. Looking southbound. This is going to start moving in. I guess that's the exit there towards Garland, and then running yeah, to the north. It's hard to make heads and tails out of it too, isn't it? When you start seeing all the when it's at night and you got all the rain in the area. I don't see a lot of lightning, y'all. I mean, there's some out there in the distance, but it doesn't look like it's a non-stop thing. Let's go back to Fayetteville. So that's where we were looking just now. We can look south of town here in Fayetteville and see that along West 15th Street, the rain started East Huntsville Road, and then more of those showers and storms. There's another heavier storm here that's starting to track in. This is north of Greenland. So I know, a little skittish in Greenland too, right? After we had that tornado move through earlier this within the last week. Exit 58 north, it's still pretty heavy here out around Fayetteville. So coming into Fayetteville from out towards Greenland and moving northbound, it's pretty heavy in this area too. So I think you're going to be dealing with quite a bit of showers and storms here. This is what it looks like. You know, you kind of crest the hill near Greenland by the truck stop and you look north. There you go. That's looking towards the University of Arkansas. And we do have that storm there. It's going to be on the left side of the screen. You see that lightning strike? Good night. That's going to wake someone up. That was just north of the university, so probably closer to Springdale, maybe Harbor Meadows, that area. Someone's got their brights on. Turn those off. Dim them. Or it's those LED ones that look like they're bright. I don't know. Well, that's a great shot. It's a pretty shot, isn't it? Maybe they're sending a signal to me or something. They just have their brights on. That's some bright lights. Man. All right. So let's go back over here. You never know what you're going to see on RDOT cams. It's kind of like watching a police chase live from the helicopters. You just never know what's going to happen. And that's how our RDOT cams are. Just some cheap entertainment, right? Okay, so the storm here near Greenland, there was a new sweep. So let's take this out to the east and find out where we are here. This is there's Dead Horse Mountain Road. And then up to the north on South City Lake Road, South Mountain Road. Those storms are essentially running right around East 29th, South Wright Place, Sandtrap Drive, West 29th, East Fairway Lane, South Club Oak Drive, and then running east, it moves out towards looks like Armstrong Road and East Boric Drive and Pump Station Road. So this is on the south side of Fayetteville. There's the Fulbright Expressway right in here. So you're really looking at South Fayetteville for these stronger storms that are going to be moving in. That does eventually get out towards Baldwin. Expect some of these storms to be coming out towards Cobalt Avenue, South Angels Road, um, and again Dead Horse Mountain Road. So starting to pick up in here too. Where those storms? Look how red those. Man, that looks angry, doesn't it? Let's go to a wide view again. There's the line of storms as it moves in. And another big line behind it. So it's not like we catch a break. Well, we do. We catch a little bit of a break. I mean, you can see it right there. Little weak echo channel that's in there before we get the next round that moves through. And this is all going to be heavy and cause flash flooding as well. So low-lying areas will flood and flood anything that's in those low-lying areas, whether they're moving or whether they're parked. So if your car is parked in a low-lying area, it will also flood. Keep that in mind and don't drive into those areas, especially here in the next 24, 48 hours. That flooding threat should really start ramping up even more than it is now, just because of the repeated rounds of rain that we just keep getting over the same place over and over and over. Northbound from Technology Way here in Fayetteville, looking into that thunderstorm, not seeing a ton of lightning within it. Occasionally you get a big clap here, but it's not a strobe light like some of the ones that we've had in the past. That's the whole line moves east. I'm going to go back over to the model data again for the folks who just woke up and decided to see what was going on with the weather. Let's look at that. And this is where we are, and here's where we're going. So I'm going to back it all the way up. There we go. So here are the storms that are moving through now. So this first round does mostly clip north of Fort Smith. And then there's a small break at around, oh, let's call it maybe around 8 or 9. And then more storms start moving in behind it. That's the stuff in Oklahoma. So by the time we get into about 10 or 11, you get another round of rain. These could also be severe. They're going to have more instability to work with. And then these move east. I think we finally start seeing a smaller clearing. Potentially, let's see here. That's gonna be 2 in the afternoon, so 3, 4, maybe 4 and 5 this afternoon, but there's still some stuff out there, so I don't think it's kinda like yesterday. There'll still be some stragglers, but the bulk of the line, you can see that long line that stretched out. That should be east of I-40 or south of I-40 by this afternoon, about 3 or 4 o'clock. So repeated rounds of rain until then, a small break somewhere around that 9 o'clock hour, and then another big push of rain around lunchtime, and then another break from the heavy line of rain that's going to be coming through second half of the day. That's closer to 4 or 5 o'clock, I think, when that moves in. Back over to radar. I'm going to check for rotation again. I'm not real concerned about tornadoes with this, guys. In fact, unless you just are a weather geek like me and you want to just go back to bed because it is a holiday weekend, just do it. I'm going to cover it just for a little bit longer here. The storms are still fascinating to me. People sometimes will ask, "Do you miss your old job?" Well, no. When a hobby turns into a job, it's not a hobby anymore, right? And unfortunately, sometimes that's what happens in life, that one season of life worked for a while and then the season of life doesn't work anymore, and that's fine. But I do miss tracking the storms. Everything else, staffing and chronic turnover and being short staffed all the time. It's like every 5 seconds there's a new face on TV. I can't make heads and tails out of it. um, I could for a while, except for Darren Bob's been there a long time. He's a good dude. um, he's the anchor, right? The anchor. Get it? Kind of a play on words there. But no, I don't miss TV at all. I get to come into this weather room and talk, and I don't have anybody living in my ear. By the way, I get hearing tested this Wednesday. This ear is really bad because I wore that IFB for 20 years, which is kind of wild too. Because this is coming up on the 25th year of covering our weather here, and I still see stuff every day that's new and different. We live in a wild part of the world for weather. Thankfully, being May, these things could be a lot worse than they actually are. Go back over to radar here. Let's isolate Benton County first, right? So here we are. Then we're going to animate it second. There it goes. Lifted a little more north, didn't it? Kind of moved in. It was like, kind of slowed down a little bit, lifting north. The outflow is out ahead of it. So that's also an indication that the severe threat is down. I'm going to go ahead and stop the radar here and let's look at it for any kind of rotation. There's not any, but there are some gusty winds from Pea Ridge through Rogers back down through War Eagle. And that lines up with this little curve right here. I think you're probably getting on Leetown Road there in Pea Ridge and then running out towards the south on 94. You're probably getting some really gusty winds here, about 40 miles an hour or so, but nothing, no greens. We're not spinning up in this area here. Those are all red winds. Those are all red colors. So red colors on a radar are winds moving away from the radar. Green colors are winds moving towards the radar. So that's how we can tell where they're spinning, right? If you've got some moving away and towards each other at the same point. You can also isolate too where some of those wind gusts will be right in here. Looks like it'll be a little stronger. So let's check out the old trend here. How is this thing trending in Benton County? I think it's trending down, and the heaviest is a little more towards the south. So even though we're getting the thunder and the lightning here in Rogers and in Lowell and Garfield, I think we're a lot heavier here. So let's look into Washington County now and skip southward, and let's start right about this area. And this is coming down quite a bit more. That's a live look there. You can see the RDOT cam actually looking northbound, I believe. Yeah, so this is Washington County. So let's do the same thing. Here's how it's trending. Moving east. Again, the outflow has outran the main line of storms here on the east side. That uncorks the atmosphere, but it also kind of limits the low level flow. So when they're not packed up tight together like that, the storms can't access that warm, juicy air on the east side. All they can access is the rain cooled air because the outflow boundary already moved through and cooled everything down. So the storms are going to have a hard time becoming severe again unless they can merge back up with the outflow or the afternoon. We can recover some. So here's Fayetteville right now. Let's stop the old clock here. First, let's look at a trend. How is this thing trending? Trending up or trending down? So let's watch this move in. I think that one near Prairie Grove, south of Prairie Grove, is trending up. Everything else looks like it's trending down, especially the north side on 62. But it is still up in Prairie Grove, and you're probably going to hear some small hail hit the window out of this thing. It's coming up around West Fork or so. So let's isolate those winds here. I'm gonna do something wonky on y'all. I'm gonna go two panel real quick. It's gonna be easier. Easier for me anyway. More confusing for y'all. On the left side is the rain. On the right side is the wind. See that pocket of wind right here? That pocket of wind also aligns right here near Prairie Grove. Nothing is spinning. I should point that out. That is good. But I do see some heavier wind in here just south of Prairie Grove and then up through Prairie Grove right here, which Makes sense because that's also what we see on the radar. So we'll go back to one panel now. And then so we can see where that storm is heaviest. It looks like it may be intensifying south of Prairie Grove. Let's see if it popped up on the last scan there. That's a volumetric scan. It may take a second. So it's interesting the way that Doppler has come. It's come such a long way since I first started. Used to we get updates every 6 and 7 minutes, and even though weather people still don't have a clue, we really didn't have a clue back in the day because the updates were so infrequent. So what the Doppler does is it takes the atmosphere right, and then it sweeps through it, and it cuts it kind of like a cake from the bottom all the way up. And so it's like a little pie slice, right? So used to it would have to cut the pie all the way up and then it would package it and send it out. That's a volumetric scan. There are still all are some products that I look at that are volumetric products. Vertically integrated liquid is one. That was the trend one I was just showing you. But what the Weather Service decided to do with the dual pole Doppler, instead of just one beam going out, now they've got two beams coming out. So now one is vertical and one's horizontal. That shows us the shape of what's in the air. That's how we know if a tornado's on the ground because straw doesn't look the same as a raindrop, right? So you can tell when debris is mixed into the storm. Now, the other thing that the Weather Service does with the dual pole is they have the opportunity to put it in something called sales mode. That's the supplemental low level scans. And so, what will happen is instead of doing the whole volumetric scan from bottom to top, it'll sweep the bottom because that's where the tornadoes are, right? And then it goes to the next layer at top. And then it sweeps the bottom. And then it goes maybe to another layer. And then it sweeps the bottom. And then it goes up. So you're constantly getting these refresh scans on the low level, sometimes as fast as a minute, maybe less than a minute depending on what mode they have the Doppler in. 90 seconds, I think, would be the longest that we'd ever get one. So that's how these supplemental scans work, and that's how Doppler's improved, and that's also why we can tell when a tornado's on the ground and what street it's on immediately. Now, I'll be just frank with you. When it comes to snow, no meteorologists know what the hell they're doing around here, including myself. Snow is incredibly hard to forecast, and it goes back to those layers, but not Doppler layers, but model layers on a much larger scale. So instead of looking at the atmosphere with the grid data, the Doppler radar is just scanning that little chunk of the atmosphere where the models are all leveled like this. The problem is different models have different spacing. So maybe it only covers the very bottom and then it covers a lot of the top and then it covers all the way up as I bump the mic there. But if it misses the low level cold air, it misses the Ozarks, it misses the cold air slowing down, it misses cold air damming, it misses a lot of things in the storms, winter storms anyway. And so when there's winter weather forecasts, they may have a super duper severe, mega severe alert, a panic day coming out a week later. But that's also BS too, because really you can't forecast the snow with high accuracy until you're about 2 days out at best. You can get an idea, sure. Hey, we got a big system coming. But if someone says, we're going to have 8 inches of snow in 8 days, no, no, Snowbird Bobby doesn't know what he's talking about. So these are the storms that are still there, and you can tell by my tone of my voice and just the chit-chatty nature. Number one, I've had too much caffeine, but number two, it's really not that bad. They're going to make a lot of noise. I think the flooding threat does come up. The stuff that's coming into Fayetteville now is the strongest. It's got some hail in it around Prairie Grove. Why don't we look at Prairie Grove just because we just got hit by that tornado this week? Um, and I know that the weather awareness is going to be a lot higher here. So let's look in towards Prairie Grove, a little closer here near Walnut Grove. Where are we at here? Is that going to populate a street? North Garland McKee Road. This is along and east of Prairie Grove, up towards Farmington. So coming into Farmington now, near West Ray's Mill, Little Elm. It's out there by the elementary school, on the northwest side of Farmington, over by the high school too. South Winds Road, south of Main Street, East Main Street, and then let's see here. Where are we gonna put it here? That's just north of Cynthia Avenue, East Ruth Street. Isn't Briar Rose over here? Isn't that where you get the cinnamon rolls? Oh my gosh, those are so good. They're so good. I don't know if you've had them or not. On the east side of Fayetteville, where are we at here? Huntsville Road. That's out towards Mount Sequoia. So we're getting some pretty heavy duty storms here. This is looks like it's running along North Skyline, North Assembly, East Missouri Way, East Springway, Cliffs Drive. Here's Crossover, and on the east side of Crossover near Wyman, these showers and storms are tracking up towards the north, just off Crossover Road. So that's going to put it along East Highland Park, North Ratcliffe, and looks like Ridgely Drive, and then moving north up towards East Lovers Lane and Inwood Lane on the east side of Crossover. Moving back up to the north, there's Crossover and Township. So Covington Park's going to be right in here. There's Old Wire Road. So Old Wire Road running east and west with these showers there affecting Flynn Creek along Summershade Drive, Idlewood Way, East Piper Glen, North Candlewood, and North Firewood. Got creative on that one, didn't they? Like, we'll call this one Firewood. What about this one? We'll call it Candlewood. There's Gully Road on the east side of Fayetteville. Boy, it is coming down at the Northwest Arkansas Mall, isn't it? Here's Joyce running east and west. There's the Northwest Arkansas Mall access road. You got the John and Deke folk right here. And then boy, it's coming down on the Fulbright Expressway. North Hills Boulevard, West Appleby Boulevard and Road, still coming down really heavy here. Let's see where we are in this area at the interchange. So that's going to be what mile marker is 67. There you go. New scan just popped through too. It looked like it moved more of it towards right over Fayetteville. Backing out. There's Gully, Johnson, East Zion Road, West Lakeview Drive. There's Don Tyson Parkway, Electric Avenue, South Thompson. So this is over by the ball fields here and by Tyson and by that Springdale Fire Station off of Don Tyson. Heaviest is over Johnson. There's Johnson Mill Boulevard. There's Wrights. Some great barbecue. Hey, Barbecue Fest is a week from today at the Momentary. I think they still have some tickets too. They got like 1,200 people. Now I just got to come through with the weather next weekend. Yeah. 'Cause all I'm doing is emceeing and eating barbecue. Like I'm living the life next weekend. That's gonna be awesome. It's 13 pitmasters. They're coming in from across the country. It raises money for pediatric brain cancer, which is somewhat close to me. My father passed away of brain cancer. So I thought I'd get involved with this one, and they raise money for it, and all these barbecue people are going to be here grilling. Can't wait. It's going to be good. Sonora, East Robinson. My goodness. Those storms are heaviest along Holiday Road and Sonora Acres Road. Sonora Road running south and Santa Fe Ross Drive. It's also apparently time for me to go to the eye doctor. Farmington, this is coming. This is going to come right over the university. So heavy showers and storms here expected. That last scan puts it pretty much on MLK, doesn't it? In 62. So that's going to be a pretty heavy thunderstorm here that comes right along the south part of Fayetteville. Are we still doing construction here? When are we not doing construction here? I guess that's the better question. Yeah, we are. There it is. So that's looking north. So that is the MLK exit. Hopefully, I think they're making that 3 lanes, which is probably a smart idea, especially since all that game day traffic's on it. Football season. Hopefully, this is finished by football season. Oh, can you imagine that construction zone? So this is looking northbound towards MLK. 62 would be on the left side of the screen, and the university is going to be over there on the far right. And this is going to come right over the university here, really, any second, the next minute or so. Heaviest right now is along MLK, just north of Old Farmington Road. So this is over by what, the Lowe's and the Walmart right in here, just west of Fayetteville. East, Westview Meadows here, Mount Comfort Road, West Weddington, North Sang, and then it looks like it starts to trend down a little over Johnson now compared to where it was earlier. Still have it in Greenland. I know you guys are probably have your roofs all tarped up, dealing with insurance now. Napier Drive, North Campbell Road. These storms are near Horn Road, West Circle, Napier, West Wilson, West Yos, North Pollard Street, West Diane Street, West Powerline Place, and north, what does that say? Letitia Avenue. And then that's going to come right over Drake Field. The heaviest there is just north of town, north of Greenland, though, on 49. So really, it's just north of the interstate exit for Greenland is where it appears to be the heaviest until that last scan came through, and it puts it more towards Main Street now on the east side of the old interstate there, out towards Razorback Road, which we can also pull up. Hey, look, we're getting some more sunlight now. Look how green everything is. We greened up so quick. We needed the rain. It just seems like we can't get enough rain when we need it. We could just bottle some of this stuff up for August. Wouldn't that be great? Right now, the ground's too saturated, and so we don't really need this because it's just all going to run off. Now, you may need it for a cattle pond or out at Beaver Lake, fill up a little bit more. I don't think they're going to have any water problems. Um, but other than filling up reservoirs, this is all going to run off into the White River, the Illinois River, and eventually the Arkansas River. So the rainfall is already saturated and soaked the ground. The repeated rounds are good for a lot of folks who planted, but then again, if you planted some kind of vegetation that doesn't like a lot of water, you may have some problems. Looks like they had some problems there. The camera just froze, so could be a lightning strike. I imagine that's probably what it is. Again, that was looking northbound out towards Razorback Road with the storm that's essentially right over us in Fayetteville now, tracking towards the east. There's Smooth Mountain. Where are we at here? East 29th, South Wright Place, South Country Club, 28th, 31st, South College Circle, East Fairway Lane, South College. It's over there by Stone Ridge near Sand Trap Drive. We got creative with that one. East Double Eagle. That was also creative. And Amen Corner. That one probably not creative. That's probably when you get the hole in one, right? Yes. I don't know. That's west of South City Lake Drive near South Mountain on the south side of Fayetteville. Just south of the square is where that one's located. And then over here near South School Avenue, well, it's a little more to the east now. There's North Main. This is more towards the west Ernest Lancaster Drive. And it looks like a poultry operation there. But all of Fayetteville really getting hit by it now. Springdale, we have it east of town on 412. That's mostly running just to the east. I don't see anything there that's that impressive here. I was wondering if we could see what Beaver Lake looks like. Man, what a crappy day to be on the lake on World Day weekend. Always remember craziest thing I ever, and I've posted this on the Facebook before, but we went to Normandy in France and learned one of the first soldiers to die in the Normandy invasion was from Arkansas. So I think about that guy every time there's a Memorial Day. He was a paratrooper, actually paratrooped ahead of the ground invasion. It was one of the first lives lost on D-Day, and was from Arkansas. There's actually inside the Normandy Museum. There's a whole exhibit about him. It's kind of fascinating. So I was like, really? Why? I haven't heard of this. Here's Marble City. Well, we got close to Salisaw with this stuff, but it's lifting north, so I don't think Fayetteville or I don't think Fort Smith gets it. This stuff's also not severe, but look at the line taking shape behind it. So this first round is really going to stabilize things right in here. So that's going to stabilize the atmosphere a little bit. So when this thing that's behind it starts to move in, it'll be a little bit more worked over. Now, it's also going to have some sunlight that's going to be on here with the sun that's rising. It's going to warm the ground up and we get some clearing. So I think that could also play out in the storm intensity a bit later on, moving into the afternoon hours. Lots of lightning though out over Fayetteville right now. It's a rumbly morning, probably a good morning to sleep in. Um, that heavy rainfall from Greenland running north, exit, what are we at, 58 in Greenland, looking, we'll call it northbound. So looking up towards Fayetteville, new sweep just came through. We'll go back to that, see where that is. Strongest cell just popped up right there, and that's still along South Black Oak Road and Dead Horse Mountain Road still, right along the West White Fork River, just south of Baldwin. Still really heavy here over Fayetteville and North Mission Boulevard. Here's West North Street, and there's College running north and south. So this is East Rebecca, East Prospect, North Highlands, East Davidson, East Maple, North College over to Lafayette, and then westward towards West Watson and Northwest Street, North Gregg Avenue running north and south. Here's North Arkansas Avenue, and then North Wilson Avenue, which heads to the north here. A heavy storm tracking along Claiborne, Hawthorne, West Adams. That's all just to the south of West North Street. And looks like West Gecko Lane, where I guess if you needed some insurance, you might save 15% or more. East of North College, where are we at here? Along North Street. That's going to be along Oakwood and North Washington and West Lake Ridge Drive. And then if we go back down to the south here, let's see where we're at here. There's Shiloh Drive. So here's Huntsville Avenue running east and west, and then also Maple, and then College. There's the Weddington exit. North is where that big hill is, right there in North and College. There's North Gregg heading south out towards the university. Here's College and Lafayette. And then there's Dixon Street right in here. Really coming down over Dixon right now, isn't it? All this moves over towards Mount Sequoia, Covington Park, Ocean. More heavy thunderstorms here east of Springdale out towards Spring Valley. New sweep. Keeps tracking it east. So you're going to hear more thunder today. And let's go back to a composite view again and show you how this whole thing plays out again. So here's a wide view. Time now is about 6:29. We're at the bottom of the gutter. All that stuff is rolling southeast. Now, there's going to be some breaks in it here and there. Looks like those storms in Wichita are actually severe, though. So we'll see how the atmosphere recovers after this thing. But there are more storms all tracking southeastward and moving towards us that are going to be in the area for later on today. Now, if we play it out hour by hour, and I did this earlier, so you may have already seen this, but if you just popped in and joined, the stuff that's moving through now is this stuff. And then more stuff at about noon and 1 moves through, and then a bit of a break after 4. So I think there'll be a couple of windows here if you want to do some stuff. Probably one mid-morning here in about another hour or two, about 9 o'clock, and then another one around 1 or 2. And then we get back into storms again for the evening and then possibly for the overnight. These could also be severe as well. But thankfully this morning, despite some of the noise and lightning and thunder and even some strong cells that are out there, there's nothing that's severe at the moment. This was severe when it moved in. That's why I jumped on here. And then we have that line behind it. And then there's the break. That's the 9 o'clock break that's up there. So the first round here hopefully lets that water run off, and then things get a little bit better towards the second half of the day. All right, so that's what's going on weather-wise for us. Hope your Sunday is off to a fantastic start. I'm gonna be sticking around today. I'll be trying to clean the old house, getting things ready. So ready for what? I don't know. Ready for my sanity to be normal with the kids home from here on out for the summer. Gotta have a clean house. Gotta do something, right? So if anything else pops up in the afternoon, I'll probably pop on here. My son might join me a little bit and talk about the storms as well. But in general, flash flooding is probably the highest risk today, followed by wind damage, followed by hail, followed by tornadoes. If you had to stair step them, flash flooding is going to be the bigger issue. So be very careful out there driving around. A lot of roadways are going to be flooded because water didn't have anywhere else to go. It just had too much of it in too short of amount of time. You'll hear thunder today, there's going to be a possibility of severe weather, but it's more towards the second half of the day once we get the daytime heating, and then we'll be dealing with more strong storms, possibly overnight into tomorrow. I know it's just a really rainy weekend. So that's what's going on weather-wise here. Have a safe and a wonderful Sunday. If you're headed out to morning services at church, make sure and grab the umbrella. You'll need it for the first part of the day, and then a little bit of a break mid-morning and another break in the afternoon before that next round starts to push on in. I'll see you guys back here next time.